Hi guys, it's PanelHopper and I'm back to talk about Madame Webb, a comic book movie which has been much ridiculed on this platform. There's been a forest of YouTube videos made about it in the 2 years since it came out. Maybe it's more than that. But I finally seen it because it's finally made its way to British Netflix. So I saw it today, and despite everything I've seen on it, despite all the clips and honest trailers and review breakdowns and all that stuff, I was still surprised. Dakota Johnson's performance, especially, is just absolutely baffling. So, as I said, if you watched any of the many videos on Madame Web that were made since it came out, you would have seen clips of her most baffling line reads. But the thing that confused me the most was just the kind of, if you combine that kind of lackadaisical line reading and character work, such as it is, with the attitude of her character, someone who doesn't really want to, is kind of being thrust into herodom, what you get is someone who for most of the film is thoroughly unlikable. Like, it's just not, reluctant heroes by definition tend to be initially dismissive and then are confronted by an injustice which galvanizes them into doing their hero work. With Cassie Webb, I never got that sense based on the way Dakota Johnson was behaving in the film. It's incredibly strange character work. Like, and I don't. It's almost impossible to understand why. There's nothing to explain it other than perhaps absolute boredom with a terrible script, which this film does have. The other thing I noticed about it was, much has been made already of the ADR line dubbing, and that's here with Ezekiel Sims. He is overdubbed all of the time, but again, he doesn't seem barely present. No one in this film does. Every single actor from every single bit part seems incredibly confused as to why they're even in this film, and I don't understand it because, this is a film that stars 5 Marvel characters, at least 3 of whom are directly tied to Spider-Man, and there's hardly any of the kind of action of Sony's worst Spider-Man films. Even Amazing Spider-Man 2 has decent action scenes in it here or there, and I don't like that movie. This doesn't even have that. Morbius, when I did my Morbius review a couple of years ago, that at least has a couple of scenes that we can say, okay, Jared Leto's terrible, and this is a boring film, but it has those scenes. Madame Web doesn't have that at all. Another thing which confused me is not to do with the film itself, but with the initial reviews. So in a lot of initial reviews, there was some confusion as to whether this film was set in 2003 or not. So if you look at the film without taking into account what I'm about to say, obviously it's set in 2003 based on posters and clothing design and mobile phones. But I'm not sure where the confusion came from initially, because when I watched it on Netflix, there was a big splash screen that said 2003 when it cuts to the present day of the narrative. So either that wasn't in the original cinema release, which I would believe, or people just struggled to pay attention to the film, which I wouldn't blame them for. So yeah, that's Madame Web, a film set in 2003 that looks like it was shot in 2003 with 2003, not well, I was going to say 2003 superhero film sensibilities. It doesn't even have that. Yeah, you don't need to tell me to stay away from this one. I'll be back soon with my War Between the Land and the Sea review. I'm going to do that when the whole thing has been put out, because it's only 6 episodes anyway. So, when all 6 episodes of War Between the Land and the Sea are out, then I will do my review of that. So you can look forward to that if you want to. Please remember to subscribe, it really helps my channel. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.